Today's episode is going to be what I've been trying to do for a while on Vulnerable, that's called like millennial moment. Something that I've had a lived experience and I think that others truly can understand. But perhaps me having a branding angle and understanding the rebranding as brands that have lived through Y2K and have now changed completely. I asked folks on a poll about Barbie, and I said, what other brands have vastly changed for the better? I would say, for sure, for the better. But have we forgotten the fact that those brands meant something very problematic and very different for a lot of people for decades, really? First, I guess I'll focus on Barbie because that's what is on the lips of everyone wearing a pink piece of apparel and they're at the movie theater. Because of strike rules, I'm not like promoting anything in particular, but I am very intrigued with Barbie the brand. I remember sitting down with Teal Sperling, who is an executive there, and she was fantastic. I suggest you to go and check out our episode where we talk about her and her life. Transparently, Teal is a little person. And so we talked about what it was like for her to be working in that environment. And so I've kind of had like a crush on the Barbie brand for a while as a mom of two girls. And I'll tell you why before anyone tries to come for me. Barbie's really tried. And now this movie has sent it over the edge with saying very clearly, this is who we are as a brand, this is what we represent, and this is where we're headed, right? I think that the far right is in clear opposition with this movie. I see why they are upset. I think that their understanding of the Barbie movie, and I actually am talking about ladies that I know who are more conservative that went to go see the movie, right? And came back telling me, oh, you should think before, you go see this and that. And reason being, visibility, representation, inclusivity, themes of feminism, which felt like it perverted what Barbie was when they were young girls, right? And so when they were young girls, Barbie was blonde, extremely thin. She didn't start out having a ton of jobs. Don't quote me on that. But I do think that it was more like Barbie had interests, right? And Barbie would go to the beach and Barbie would have her house and Barbie would be doing, eventually I do think that caught up where they were like, we can't just keep putting her in different outfits. Like there is a holiday Barbie once a year. I know I own many of them. We need to probably diversify the brand. They knew that. And I almost feel like they accidentally stumbled on Barbie becoming feminist back in the day because they were like, we really do need to have her be doing different things in the world. I do think that for a long time, I struggled with wanting to look like Barbie. I was always sort of grouped in with, well, you're the brunette choice in who we book for this movie. We have a blonde choice. And, I hate to say this, but like more often than not, they went with what was considered the all-American girl. That's actually kind of very un-American when you look at it through the lens of a 2023 person, but how far we've come, right? And how far the Barbie brand has come. Scooting back to my episode with this executive from Mattel who felt very safe coming on the pod because we're friends. She's a wonderful lady. In no way would I be, considered trashing this brand. I just think it's fascinating to stand back and see how much change can happen. If you asked me like 4 or 5 years ago about representation, I would have been virtually clueless on what that actually meant. Cut to me bawling my eyes out watching the current mermaid movie, which will remain nameless for strike reasons. And I'm watching it and I am feeling the effects of representation when my daughters are like so joyful and not seeing race in that moment and just enjoying the magic of this story. And it affects me probably deeper than them because so many of us millennial females have experienced the isolating feeling of not being Barbie. Barbie, I guess 1.0, we should say. So the Barbie film, I guess, gosh, I feel so random in that I'm trying to provide context for folks with being respectful of everything, is like I said, I think that the far right is very threatened by it. There's nothing that we can do. This is where Barbie is at. You can either, enjoy the content or not. And that truly is the power of the click, the power of your vote, the power of your dollar is still what rules America. So having an opinion is just that. Everyone has an opinion, and if you're going to be hurtful and unkind and then really kind of project that onto your children, I don't get down with that. I don't think that we should be trying to break generational traumas, and not be putting that onto our kids. So that's where I stand with that. Moving on from Barbie, we can talk about other problematic brands like Victoria's Secret, right? So there is a performer who was on Vulnerable named Jax. Jax has literally gone viral for her song, Victoria's Secret. And I think that public pressures really started to ramp up for Victoria's Secret and their fashion show. I thought it was so fascinating because we all lived through especially millennial women, the Victoria's Secret Angels fashion shows, and the angels and the wings and the push-up bras. In fact, what was I? I guess I was 18, and I had already had breast augmentation because I was feeling the pressures of all that. And I did a pilot for Fox, and they insisted that I wear a push-up bra because we were schoolgirls and we needed to look appealing. And so that was the first time that I had ever felt the effects of that. And of course it was a Victoria's Secret bra, right? It's so systemic. It's so ingrained into what it meant to be a millennial growing up, the Victoria's Secret of it all. And not looking like that, and trying to find a way to do your hair exactly like them and to do your makeup just like that with the perfect rosy blush color. And so many people didn't look like that, and then I think that's why I enjoyed the Rihanna Fenty runway shows, because it was art. Fashion is art. And even though I think that Victoria's Secret made some artistic moments in their bras with the rhinestones and the different themes that they were doing that sort of also matched the, fairy angel wings and all the different wings. They were essentially Barbies. You know what I'm saying? There was definitely a narrative here where they were walking, modeling Barbies, because, we all know that Barbie wasn't her, what is it? If she was a real person, she wouldn't even be able to stand up. And so I did actually appreciate that when they did the limited edition doll of Margot Robbie, that body was Margot's body. It's not Barbie's body. And so I think knowing just how serious Disney is with their IP and how certain things cannot be done differently, Mickey needs to be seen in a very specific way. And they're protective of that, and that makes sense, right? That's the entirety of their brand is Mickey Mouse. And so it's the fact that they would do away with Barbie, even if it's limited edition, and serve Margot, that very much shows me their commitment to this moving forward. Because I don't think that Barbie's going to sell that well. In fact, when I went to Target and saw it, there was a ton of them still there. People weren't buying it. So Victoria's Secret, I do feel like they were the walking Barbies. And so that's kind of what made us, growing up as little girls, see Barbie in a plastic mold, then come to life with these ladies. I don't know really what to say about Victoria's Secret. I mean, I think that they're on their way out, if you were to ask me, just because there's so many amazing brands out there. Knix underwear is fantastic, and they're not sponsoring me. I'm just throwing it out there. But the fact that we have, as women, underwear that can actually serve us every month, that's fantastic. That's very inclusive of every body. And it's not shaming you, right? And so I think that's why there's so many competitors to Victoria's Secret now. Thanks so much for checking out this clip for the Vulnerable Podcast. For the full episode, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. That link is in the description. Thanks again.